What's the best screenwriting book you've ever read?
I've never read a screenwriting book, but I've read a lot of screenplays. And it's so funny. I've never read a screenwriting book. I've tried and I can't relate to them, but I've read a ton of screenplays. Actually, since I was a kid, I read screenplays. There used to be this guy in Union Square in New York that would sell bootleg printed out copies of the screenplays.
That's great.
Yeah, and I remember buying the Goodfellas one, and that was really influential on me when I was a kid, and Taxi Driver, and so I was just reading all of these screenplays over time, and Coen Blood Simple, Coen Brothers screenplays were really influential, and so that's what I learned from was reading a lot of screenplays, not really books on them, and watching tons of movies. But yeah.
So this guy, I'm sorry, I'm just fascinated, but did he have like a booth set up?
Oh, he had like a whole table, and it would have like, I could see it now, like all these like different screenplays that were brassed and bound. They have like these neon yellow or pink like highlighter colors on the front, and these like bad printouts of the film. So it'd be like the bad VHS cover of like The Godfather. And then it would be the whole script, though. It's basically somehow he got his hands on the script and he would have them Xerox. They were like terrible Xeroxes. They were like $2 or $3, and I'd buy them. I had stacking them and I'd read them. And since I was a young age, that's kind of like how I got into it.
And you said Goodfellas was the first one, or Taxi Driver?
Goodfellas is like the first one I really remember reading, like from him, and then from them. And I still have tons of screenwriting. Screenplays that I still get. I just was reading the Counselor screenplay by Cormac McCarthy, which is a film not many people love. The screenplay is absolutely phenomenal. It's actually almost you could see it as an example of a screenplay that is so good it was almost too good to become a movie, because it's so well written.
Why do you think because there's not enough showing?
Because it's all on the page. So much of it's on the page in the screenplay. And so much of it's like the inner monologue and the dialogue. He's such a good novelist. Like the dialogue, when it gets spoken, doesn't have the same effect as when you read it in his screenplay. The way the dialogue just like sits with you and stings you and just comes out. But I love the film either way. But the screenplay is really something. But yeah, I love reading screenplays. But yeah, I never really read like Save the Cat or anything like that. Yeah, it's probably why my screenplays are all a little disjointed.
Well, it's funny. Maybe that's your next idea is some guy that's in, you said Times Square or Union Square?
Union Square.
Oh, Union Square. Okay, different. Yeah, sorry. That's
no, Times Square would be amazing.
I'm picturing a guy with like a trench coat that's, hey, I've got these necklaces here, But
it's pretty close to that. Like, it wasn't far from that. He was definitely like some like Haitian dude who was just like, hey, screenplay. Because like only in New York could that be some sort of side hustle.
I love it. Oh man, that's great. Okay, thank you. How did you digest it? And how do you feel that was helpful for you?
I don't think like deconstruct them. I just they just sat with me and things and what I loved about it, like it was kind of like, it was just to kind of get an understanding of the language and an understanding of the format. And because I loved most of the screenplays I read, I had seen the movies of. So it was kind of almost like, yeah, I guess it was, the screenplay itself is a deconstruction of the film. So it was almost like I got to go backwards and see where they started. And then I could fill in the blanks of how they ended up there. And I became really obsessed with like the lore of how films were made. Like I love reading Hollywood stories or production stories. So I think that became that kind of like fill in the gap area. But that's where a lot of what I learned from was like watching movies and then reading the movies and then reading how the movies were made. And between that, I think I hopefully picked up a few things.
Did you see Sunset Boulevard?
Yeah, I love Sunset. Well, Queen is very much based off Sunset Boulevard. Yeah, I love Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I didn't find her character that horrible. I just felt it was a good representation of, because she started at 17 and sort of.
Gloria Swanson.
Mm-hmm. And I love the scenes where all the photos on the wall and everything are of her, and that's her whole world. That nothing exists outside of that, just.
Yeah, then there's a great scene where she goes to the front gate of the studio, and they're like, who are you? Like, we're not gonna let you in. And Cecil B. DeMille is like, it's Gloria Swanson, you have to let her in. Like, it's like, And it is amazing, that film that shows that fall from grace. And it's such a great, interesting, and you know, they made that film, they were writing the screenplay as they were shooting it.
Oh, wow.
That they didn't go in with a full screenplay of that movie. Billy Wilder, and I can't remember who his co-writer was. So it was kind of amazing that that film has this very improvisational side that you would never realize in the way it was made.
Because he's writing the screenplay too, and sees her as like the meal ticket, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and then what's his name who plays her butler?
Oh, he was fantastic.
Yeah,
because he was her enabler.
And he was his direct. He used to, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. The Blue Angel, Max. You put it in the cry.
Okay, yeah.
I'll remember it at some point. But he was the director, and so he played her butler, right? And it was also, you find out, her husband. And in real life, he had directed her in movies, and they had a very like kind of almost like abusive director-actress relationship. So Billy Wilder was like almost like an inside joke for him to put him as the subservient to her.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And he also sort of cleaned up everything, and well, I don't want to give away too much, but with the letters and everything, just sort of.
If you have not seen Sunset Boulevard, stop this interview and go watch Sunset Boulevard.